Hey guys, it's Sign here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we are talking about what I did for my birthday, which is today, the day that you guys are watching this, but what I'm talking about is something I did a few days ahead of time, and that was go to the One Piece Music Symphony for the 25th anniversary world tour, or I don't know, it was like a lot of words associated with this, but basically it's a One Piece based music concert, right? It's a symphonic concert, so it's an orchestra, both with strings and with all the other band instruments, right? And I got to go because my parents decided to gift me a ticket to this, right? So I was talking to them about, different events that were going on this month, and I mentioned this, and they were like, okay, well, do you want to go? And I said yes, and so they decided to scrounge up the money to get me a ticket, right? And so I got one of the cheapest tickets just to make it easier on them, and I managed to go, and it was a really wonderful experience. I was not really sure what to expect about it. I mean, I know what the One Piece music sounds like, right? And I do like it, but I've never been to a symphonic concert before, right? I had seen some before, right? I've seen that Star Wars has some of these, and I've seen that Saint Seiya also has some of these, and those are really popular in Mexico. And I've always wanted to go to one of those, one of the Saint Seiya ones, but that's because I really love the Saint Seiya music, right? I don't necessarily feel myself super in love with the One Piece music, right? I mean, I really like a few of them, right? Like Very, Very Strongest, Overtaken, and We Are highlights of the One Piece soundtrack, right? And so I like those, but I've never really watched the anime properly, so I wasn't really invested in them. But it was a One Piece thing. It was to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the series, and actually that only is relevant to the US. In Japan, and actually, if you look at it completely, I think One Piece actually turns 27 this year, a few weeks from now, because I think it released in July 23rd, 1997, right? So it turns 27 years this year. And so they're doing this world tour, and they came to the US here for this. They have a lot of different events, actually. The Dallas one, which is the one I went to, is nearly at the end of their run here in the States. After this, I think they go to Australia and then back to Europe, right? So if you guys have a chance, I recommend you guys go to this or wait for the next one, whenever that may be, because it was really, really great, right? So I told you what it was. I told you how I managed to go. Now let me tell you a little bit about the event itself, right? So it's organized by this French company called the Fées Sauvage, which actually means Wild Fairy. And this group is unclear about what they actually do. They're a company. They do stuff related to manga and anime properties, but I don't know if they're the ones that directly created the symphony arrangements and stuff, or if they subcontracted to a group that does that. I'm not really sure, but the symphony is a single group that goes to different places. Here in Dallas, they were given the Dallas Symphony's auditorium, or hall, I guess, to perform in. And so I went to Mayor H something, I can't remember what it's called, but I went to the Dallas Symphony hall, and they were having this event there. And I went to the July 10th show, and the event started at 7:30 p.m. actually. I showed up there early. I wasn't really sure what to expect, so I thought, I don't have a physical ticket. There might be some problems. I'm gonna show up at least 40 minutes early just in case, and I can hang out there surrounded by other people that like One Piece. And imagine my surprise when I actually end up seeing that Prof Otaku is there, right? And I didn't really recognize him at first. I saw him out of the corner of my eye. I was like, oh, I think I know that person. And then I was standing around looking at the concessions menu when I saw him stand up and walk, not really towards me, but in the direction that I was standing in, right? I decided to approach him and be like, hey man, are you Prof Otaku? He said yes, kind of unsure about what was going on. And I introduced myself, and then we started talking. It was actually really, really cool. I actually really enjoyed this. First of all, thanks to Prof Otaku for taking the time to chat with me for the duration of this, and in between during the intermission. It was really nice. He was telling me about how he got to be to this event. He's not local to the area, but he lives close enough that it wasn't that big of a deal. And the Symphony actually reached out to him directly to ask him if he was interested in coming. They gave him 2 tickets, and so he decided to bring along Elite Collector. So I got to meet him as well. He's also local here to my area, so that's really cool. I was actually hoping Waifu and me, or Jerry and his wife, I can't remember her name, although I have met her, I'm sorry, would come too. And also I know Chase, Dark Sage, it lives here in this area too. So I was hoping they would show up, but it turns out that they weren't able to for, different reasons. But getting to meet 2 other manga tubers in an event that I wasn't really expecting to meet other manga tubers at was really, really cool. So I really appreciate that. Prof Otaku and Elite Collector were really nice to me. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate that. I even got an offer from Elite Collector to teach me how to play the One Piece TCG, because that's what he really likes, right? So I might take him up on that. There's a One Piece TCG official store around here, so I might go there and meet him to do that at some point. Maybe I'll record it for the channel, I'm not really sure. But yeah, so the event was supposed to start at 7:30. It started pretty promptly, and it was a perfect length. It was about 2 hours and 15 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more. I don't really exactly know, because I wasn't really looking at my phone trying to gauge times, right? But it lasted from 7:30, when the concert started, and I left the theater or the auditorium out into the hall at like 10:30, 10:40, something like that. A little bit less than that probably. I can't remember exactly the time, but it was great. There was also some merch that they were selling, and the merch is pretty limited. It was like a shirt, a poster, a conductor stick. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called a tact, and a program set, right? And I wanted the program set. I actually wanted the conductor stick too, but it was a bit out of my price range for what I was expecting to spend. I actually didn't think I was going to spend anything. So I decided not to get it. The program set was actually out of stock. They ran out of it during the day, but they told me, hey, you can order it online. I asked what website to order it on, and they couldn't tell me. However, this girl that was behind me in line was like, oh, it's the website that they showed, before the start of the Symphony concert, right? So she showed it to me. It's dragonmemories.com. You guys can order from there with no problems. You don't have to have proof that you went to the Symphony concert, so you guys can order there. I'll leave a link to it down below. And I got the program set from there. I actually saved a few dollars from doing that. As long as you do with economy shipping, which takes a few months, right? Because it's coming in all the way from France. As long as you do it like that, it basically comes out a little bit cheaper than what they sell it for at the actual concert, right? So that's cool. It'll be a few months before I get it, but I was really looking forward to it, so I'm very happy that I managed to get a copy of it, regardless of whether or not I have it physically right now, right? So yeah, but the program set was it's a little collection of artwork, and it also has some information about One Piece, and it also has information about the music and stuff, right? So it's a really cool little collector item. It's special. It's limited edition essentially. And so that's why I really thought it was something good to get, right? I always like getting stuff that's One Piece related, that isn't necessarily just the main manga collection, because I don't have space for 150 volumes or however long it might actually end up being, in one go, right? So yeah, but I didn't mean to veer off there. I wanted to actually talk about the music that was played, right? So like I said, it was a perfect length. Part 1 was more character based. So it opens up with a song for Goldie Roger. I can't remember the name of the songs, but I will talk about that again when I get the program set, and I'll mention what songs related to what characters. But it opens up with a song that has ties to Gold Roger, right? So all of the images on the screen that they had behind the players was all stuff related to Gold Roger. Some of it was from later on in the series, and some of it was from early on. And because of Gold Roger, it also ties in with Shanks and Luffy. And so it's basically like following the beginning of the anime, right? And in the manga, where you get the introduction to Gold Roger, you get the introduction to One Piece, and then they begin playing stuff that relates to the characters, right? Before they do that, though, they actually play a piece that is kind of like about Romance Dawn, and so all of the images focused on Luffy and Shanks, right? And then after that, they played a song that were related to Zoro, then one to Nami, then one to Sanji. You notice they skipped Usopp, and that's because they played a specific song for Usopp for, what's it called, for like Syrup Village after they played the one for Sanji, and then they combined it with Chopper's part of the song. And I think they did this because those two songs are a little bit more similar, or there were one song that had elements that felt Christmassy, and so they managed to, push Chopper in there as well, because, he's a reindeer, and the introduction arc for him is on Drum Island, which is a winter island, and he even has like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer imagery tied to him initially, right? So I like that. Some people did complain about it. They were like, man, Usopp didn't get his own song, that sucks. I was like, well, I mean, Chopper's better, so it's okay that they combined them. It was a joke, but someone agreed with me, and it was pretty funny. And then they played a song for Robin. I think actually they played an Enies Lobby song. I think it was the one where everyone is standing on top of the tower, and it's before Usopp fires the shot onto the flag, right, and burns it up. I think it was that one. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a pretty meaningful, part of the story, so I like that. Then they finally played one for Frankie, and then it moved on to kind of different stuff, right? Some of it was events, some of it was characters. So there was a lot of stuff for Marineford, which is awesome. There was some stuff for Ace, of course, because everyone loves Ace. And then the intermission started by showing this like final piece that goes up into like going on to the new world, right? So I thought that was great. They did move past entering the Grand Line and stuff. It was kind of marked that it was like important that we were moving on to the Grand Line, but it wasn't as clear as like moving on to the new world, right? Overall, this first half was pretty good. I liked all of the songs. I think Zoro's song was probably the best, followed by Robin's, and then followed by Nami's. But I really felt like they were missing some songs, right? At this point, I even told Prof Otaku and Elite Collector, I was like, they haven't really played the big hits, right? And then I had to explain what those were because they don't really watch One Piece. And so I was like, they didn't play Overtaken, they didn't play The Very, Very Strongest, they didn't play We Are, and that's because they were in the second half, right? So after the 15-minute intermission, we started off with the New World, and this was a lot more arc-based, or not necessarily arc-based, but there was a lot more like emphasis on like parts of the story over characters, right? At this point, most characters are introduced. There really is no kind of need for that, so that makes sense. There were some kind of interesting things here. Some of the songs were very directly related to brotherhood and this correlation between Ace and Luffy and Sabo. There was a song that was about when Sabo uses Ace's power for the first time. There was a song for Ace and Luffy, and kind of showing off Ace's coolness and their big battle at Marineford together. And then it moved on to Dressrosa and Whole Cake. There was a version of We Are that had that very somber, sad tone related to when Sanji has to deal with the stuff that he has to deal with in Whole Cake, and when he gets angry at Luffy, and Luffy is like, I'll wait for you, I need you to feed me, that sort of stuff. It was really good stuff. I really like that. And then we moved on to like a whole section of songs that were all just about Wano. And that makes sense because Wano is the arc that has just finished. It's the one that has lasted probably the longest, I think. I think maybe Dressrosa lasted longer in terms of like anime. But it was great. I really liked it. I do have to say though that I feel like some of the brass instrument players kind of fumbled the bag in some of these songs. At least during the We Are version that was related to Sanji, and one of the first Wano songs, they kind of messed up. They fudged up a little bit with some of the notes, right? In the sense that I think it was trombones specifically that messed up, and it was like the sharpness of their notes was pretty unclear. Like it wasn't like basically their notes weren't enunciated enough, right? And so there was this portion where they were doing like a bunch of quick note changes. and it didn't really sound like there's a bunch of different little short notes. It felt more like when you play a kazoo or something, or like one of those little like slide whistles, and you're just kind of like going like this really crazy. It kind of felt like that. And it's not really necessarily an issue, but the fact that I noticed, and maybe I'm attributing it incorrectly, right? But that's kind of how it felt like, is not great. However, it's a pretty minimal issue. Afterwards, they, got back on board, and they played really, really well for all of the Wano stuff. And they actually played a version of the very, very strongest that incorporated Overtaken, and also incorporated the Drums of Liberation, right? So we had this really awesome sequence where they basically just showed all of the Gear 5 animation the first time that it shows up, and the battle at the very top of the ceiling in the Skull Island. I forgot what it's called. In Kaido's house, and all of that stuff. And it was awesome. It was amazing. Most people recognized what was going on. Everyone was super hyped. They started clapping while they were performing, and it was really, really enjoyable. The atmosphere was awesome. However, I did feel kind of bad because I knew that Elite Collector and Profitaku didn't actually know what was going on, and so they ate massive, insane, uber ridiculous spoilers, and that really sucks. But at the same time, for everyone else there that was kind of in the know, it was amazing and awesome and electrifying. And it was really, really awesome and so cool, right? And I really don't have enough words to express how I felt. It was amazing. And then we finished off with We Are, and they actually, I think they played it once, but they kind of doubled back on a portion of it in order to let us yell We Are really loud, which is fun. That was really, really cool. We also played, they also played Binks Sake in the first half. And it was a sing-along version, as well as the final We Are that they played was also a sing-along version. However, because it was in Japanese, I feel like a lot of people didn't really know what was going on. It was pretty hard to sing along with, but there was a group of people that really did try their best, and it was great. It just wasn't that loud. I really wish that maybe for those sections, they could have had a recording of someone singing it that wasn't that loud, so that it kind of helped boost everyone's courage and help them actually try to sing along, right? But the conductor actually did a great job at not only conducting the pieces, but also getting the crowd hyped up. She would, turn back at us and yell and like raise her arms and try to tell us when to clap and stuff. And it was really great. I really liked it. I think it was really, really nice. They got 2 standing ovations, and they played 2 extra songs that they had already planned out for. I'm guessing because they know that everyone gets really excited about We Are. And they had it, set up, right? So they played Family and It's a Party. Those were the last 2 songs that they played, and they were really, really wonderful, and it all ended great. There was also something I noticed, that was that there was this one violinist that, for whatever reason, got signaled up by the conductor a few times, told to stand, and he bowed extra, compared to everyone else, right? I'm not really sure why that was. Maybe he was a new member of the orchestra or something. I'm not really sure. But someone actually handed him a straw hat, which is awesome. And he got to wear it for a few of the songs. So that was really fun. I thought that was really, really cool. I like that. He gave it back to the person that handed it to him, so that's cool. But it was nice that happened as well. So overall, the feelings and the vibe that I got from this was phenomenal. If you guys are interested, I recommend you also check this out. If you guys have a chance to go, there are still 2 concerts left here in the States. I don't know where, but you can find them online pretty easily, right? So yeah, overall, really wonderful. I got the souvenir that I wanted. It's come in at some point before the year ends, and so when that comes in, I will make another review or another video related to it to show you guys what it is. Although I'm sure Profitaku might show it off in the next haul video that he has. I'm not really sure. And I would say that this was a 10 out of 10 event. It was wonderful. It was awesome. It was a wonderful birthday gift from my parents to me. I'm very happy that they got me this. And yeah, I feel like the summer started off rough, right? But it's been turning into one of the coolest moments of my life, one of the coolest summers that I've ever had. And I've been to like a bunch of different places and done a bunch of cool stuff over my life, right? So this is really interesting. I've gotten to do 3 different things in the span of like a month that I never thought I would do, right? I went to a con, or it wasn't really a con, it was Howard Days, right? So it was more like a family picnic where everyone just talked about Conan, and got to meet one of my favorite creators currently, right? And got to talk about ancient apocalypses with an archaeologist at this event. Jeff Shanks, he writes the essays for Conan the Barbarian, so I got to talk to him and meet Jim Sub. I got to go to a screening for a movie, which is awesome. It's really cool to get to go to a movie early. It wasn't like because I was invited, but I got to go regardless. And now I got to experience a really cool orchestra concert that relates to one of my favorite series ever, and that was great. I don't really have any regrets about not buying any of the other souvenirs or anything. The poster was good. It's just a Wano poster, and it had like a little number 25 somewhere on it. So it didn't really feel that special. I feel like they could have done something a bit better with that. The conductor stick is wonderful, amazing. I really wanted to buy it, but it's a bit much for my my spending habits. And it also would be something that was literally just for display. And as much as I like buying stuff like that, not at that price, right? So I don't regret not buying it. And I got the one that I wanted, so it's fine. And also the shirts, they just didn't have one large enough for me. So, there really isn't too much about that. I also really don't like wearing, graphic tees. So I wasn't going to wear it anyways, even if I bought it. So there was no point in doing so. So yeah, no regrets for the merch. You guys can buy it yourselves if you want to own some of it, but can't make it to the concert. I'll leave a link down below to it, and also leave a link down below to the website for the company that makes all of this stuff happen, because I think they're also the ones that do all of the other Anime Symphony concerts, right? So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. That's really all there is to say. So thank you guys once again, and see you guys later.